search the world to find the most exotic, amazing, and unbelievable pools featuring views that will leave you breathless. Hidden deep in the jungles of Bali is a pool that looks back into the ancient past.
You almost feel like you're flying over the valley.
Straddling 3 skyscrapers while floating 57 stories above Singapore, this marvel will make your stomach do flips.
It's a rush. I feel like I'm gonna fall off the edge.
In the Caribbean island of St. Lucia, you'll gaze out from this pool at the towering volcanic peaks, where the pirate Blackbeard buried his treasure.
The pool is so amazing.
And in the Swiss Alps, a heated pool whose view will leave you shivering with awe. All this and so much more. So take a dive with us into pools with a view. A small island nation, Singapore is located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula in Southeast Asia. An ultra-modern and wealthy nation, Singapore has found a few ways to set itself apart from other overcrowded countries. With more than 50 major parks and nature reserves, it's managed to retain more than half its greenery. It's smaller than New York City, but is the second most densely populated country in the world, with over 5.5 million people, and home of the world's busiest port. It's the 3rd wealthiest country in the world, and it's ranked the #1 most expensive city in the world to live in. There's so much money up for grabs in Singapore that the Las Vegas Sands Corp couldn't help but want in. They decided to go big, crashing the record books to create the world's highest, largest, and longest infinity edge pool.
It's a little surreal coming up and you're seeing the entire city below you. It's a rush. I feel like I'm gonna fall off the edge.
This masterpiece in the sky is 57 stories up at the top of the $8.6 billion Marina Bay Sands, the most expensive resort destination ever built. At 1,100 feet, the Sky Park is almost 300 feet longer than the Titanic. And with 3 acres of land, large enough to park 4.5 A380 jumbo jets. It also has the longest infinity edge pool to be built in the world, 492 feet, the length of 2 Boeing 747s parked end to end. And at heights higher than the Seattle Space Needle, only an airplane has a better view. Their grand design was truly something that had never been done, and senior project manager Tony McKee was tasked with accomplishing the goal.
On the Sky Park, we had major challenges. One was the superstructure, 340 meters long. How do we create a swimming pool that's 150 meters long, that spans across 2 bridges, 3 buildings? They have to have adjustability in the future to re-level the pools. And these are all fascinating challenges that have been solved really well.
It took nearly 3 years for the main resort to be built, and the engineers used that time to prefabricate as much of the pool and its support structure as they could, shipping each piece from overseas and carefully staging it for its rise to the top.
The unique challenge was just the sheer amount of material that needed to be brought up to 200 meters. So there were huge logistical challenges.
The world record-setting infinity pool required 7,000 tons of steel to find its way, section by section, 650 feet into the sky.
One of the challenges that we faced on this project was getting the materials up here and finding a place to store all of this stuff.
The pool is actually 3 separate pools merged to create a single seamless experience.
We have to maintain this vanishing edge consistently across all 3 structures and have flow even across this edge at all times to create the appearance of one single body of water.
With the physical hurdles conquered, the last step was to fill the pool. Also no small feat. It took more than 2 days to pump up the 370,000 gallons to complete the job. And with the pool filled, level, and complete, Marina Bay Sands was finally ready to unveil their world record-breaking infinity pool and its view. And one night a year, the view becomes even more spectacular. Fireworks from the bay explode at eye level, making it the best place in the world to celebrate Chinese New Year. The pool is the most checked-in location on social media for the entire country, and it's also responsible for an entirely new trend, the infinity pool selfie. With literally millions taken at this one spot annually.
Everyone needs to take a selfie here. I'm not even a selfie person, but I had to take one here because this pool is one of the most unbelievable places I've ever been. And I have to capture the fact that I'm here.
If you decide to visit the Sands, you'll be joining the almost 40 million people a year who experience the property's multiple attractions. And $500 to $1,000 a night will get you some of the most luxurious accommodations in the world. But don't worry, only about 1.5 million people make their way up to the pool. And even if only 2/3 of them snapped a selfie, it would still take you more than 22 days to look at them all. And you'd probably get tired of all those faces. But the view, it never gets old. The Indonesian province of Bali, also known as the Island of the Gods to its residents, is located in the southern Java Sea, and its 350 miles of coastline is known mostly for its sandy beaches and bustling nightlife. But for some who are willing to drive 50 miles inland on winding roads through the dense jungle, they'll arrive at a completely different world and experience a native Balinese town called Ubud. Ubud is considered in many ways to be Bali's cultural heart. Located in the cool mountains, this traditional country town is known for its quaint craft shops where you can get some amazing deals. The town was originally known as a source of therapeutic herbs. Ubud gets its name from the Balinese word ubat, which means medicine. It's also known as a mystical and haunted place, full of ghosts and unexplained healing powers. And if you explore just a little further outside of the town, past the rice paddies and tiny villages, you will find in a small hidden valley a secluded resort, the Hanging Gardens of Bali, that contains something completely unexpected. A swimming pool with a view where you can see not only this world, but possibly into the next as well. The view from the Infinity Edge pool looks down on a dense green rainforest full of coconut, tamarind, and banyan trees. And from your perch in the warm pool, you'll likely see some of the area's 1,000 species of birds, multiple types of lizards, and if you're lucky, you might even spot a Balinese long-tailed monkey. But the most amazing thing that you can see as you look across the valley is a crumbling Hindu temple that's been sitting on a hilltop since the 8th century.
Swimming that pool is heaven. It's crazy. There's nothing like it. You can't create that anywhere else.
You're enwrapped by a tsunami of green. You almost feel like you're flying over the valley. You sometimes feel you can leap off the edge of the pool, fly up to the temple. I wouldn't try it, but that's the feeling.
The finished pool is 5.5 feet deep and has a 250-foot vanishing edge. The entire cascading structure under and over the pool is equivalent to an 8-story building and holds 44,000 gallons of water.
Somebody asked where's the most impossible place to build something. They found this place and built it. It was impossible, but they did it.
The Dalam Sagara Temple was built by a local ruler, and it has been the mystical and spiritual focal point for the community for 1,200 years. The obstacles to building a resort and pool in this remote location were hard to overcome. The hill that they wanted to build on was at a 45-degree angle from its base, and there was no way to get any equipment or materials to the site as the roads were too narrow. Many would have walked away, but not developer Nir Peretz. He had a vision and had made up his mind. It had to be here. Developer Nir Peretz imagined a pool deep in the Balinese jungle with a view unlike anything else in the world.
Okay, let's go.
Gary Rosen is the general manager of Hanging Gardens.
Near Peretz is a man that sees something, envisions it in his mind, and builds it. A visionary.
And at the center of the property, Nir wanted to capture the feeling that guests were floating above the rainforest, like spirits. So he imagined a dual-level pool which would be a visual and spiritual focal point for the property. So in order to accomplish it, they had to think outside the box, which meant doing it the old-fashioned way.
Everything was brought by hand. Hundreds of people carrying on their backs everything that was needed, all the way down and all the way up. It was biblical.
The main pool was constructed using 6,500 square feet of specialty stone made of compressed ash from a nearby volcano. The whole process took years to complete, and the pool, the rooms, and the detailed landscaping literally hang off the steep hillside. So they called the place the Hanging Gardens of Bali. Between the pool, the jungle, and the temple, visitors are swept away with a spiritual experience and enlightening view.
When you're swimming in the pool, you feel like you are not in this world. It's like in other world. It's a great experience.
You're in an oasis there. Everyone needs to come here.
And the pool was not the only impossible thing they accomplished. The hillside it sits on is so steep that they had to use some jungle ingenuity for their elevator.
As you can see, we're going deeper and deeper into the jungle.
In order to move up or down, you have to use one of two cable cars to carry you between the resort and the pool. When you get tired of walking the manicured grounds and lazing in the pool and want just a little alone time, you can retreat to your private villa, where you may decide to go swimming again, wearing less modest attire, if you know what I mean. Because one of the features that has made Hanging Gardens the first 7-star rated boutique hotel ever is that each of the resort's rooms has a miniature version of its iconic pool set aside just for you. Today, what was once only a steep hillside with spirits and monkeys as guests is now a lavish wellness and spiritual resort where you can take yoga classes by the river, get your zen on with monk Tahak Oka, and float above the rainforest in a pool while viewing a 1,200-year-old temple. Hanging Gardens of Bali is so unique that it's received more than 20 international destination awards, and travel magazines have named its pool the world's best. And as far as the Spirit's opinion, well, they haven't said anything. Yet. The former communist country of Hungary is located in Eastern Europe and is increasingly becoming a favorite international travel destination. Straddling the Danube River, the capital city of Budapest has some of the country's best attractions. And after exploring Castle Hill, the Chain Bridge, and Heroes Square, you will understand why Budapest is often called the Paris of the East. Over the millennia, the city has survived Roman, Mongol, and Turkish invasions. Many think that one of the main reasons Budapest has been attacked and occupied so many times is because of its over 80 geothermal springs. And while many visit Budapest for its old world charm, there is another group that comes to partake of the natural healing waters. And of all the spas in Budapest, Széchenyi baths are the most renowned because of their size and view. You can take your pick of 3 gigantic geothermal heated baths that range from a milder 81 degrees to a toasty 100 degrees. Soaking in the natural mineral water, you can laugh at the cold while peering through the steam at a wellness palace. This epic destination combines thousands of years of European history. You're floating through time as you bask in the centuries-old healing warm waters. And as Széchenyi Baths heads into the 21st century, it is making some new history. reinventing itself as an unbelievable rave and club scene destination for party seekers from all over the world. The Romans may have been here first and invented orgies, but they don't have anything on these modern travelers. The baths are the largest medicinal bath complex in Europe, and its water is supplied by 2 geothermal springs. People travel from all over the world to experience the restorative effects of the waters. The palace at Széchenyi Baths was built between 1909 and 1913. But the history of these baths go back to the 1870s and 1880s, when a deep hot spring well was drilled under Heroes Square near the city park by a Hungarian engineer whose statue still stands in front of the entrance. It took him 10 years to find the spring, and at more than half a mile deep, it was a huge accomplishment for the time. Sandor Nadazi is the general manager at Széchenyi Baths, and no one knows more about them than he does.
And now I will show you what is under the ground. This is our secrets.
And although it is easy to take for granted when you're steaming in the pool, it is when you descend into the dark labyrinths beneath them that you gain an appreciation for how complicated the system is.
This is the heart of the system. If any pipe is broken, we have to run very fast.
The daily supply of this well is over 200,000 cubic feet of water, which is about 1.5 million gallons, and it comes out of the ground at 170.6 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause third-degree burns. The hot spring is blended with fresh cold water to provide an ideal soaking temperature in the thermal baths. And the exercise pool is cooled even further so that you don't overheat. Colorfully decorated yellow buildings form a courtyard that encloses the 3 huge naturally heated pools and protects them from the cold wind. And if you're looking for more modern sights and sounds, you just need to wait for it to get dark and the spa party to start. Sparties combine well-known DJs playing electro, trip-hop, hip-hop, funk, and trance with light video and laser visual effects and lots of alcohol. And these high-octane parties are breathing new life into these ancient baths. The geothermal springs at Széchenyi have, over thousands of years, seen the rise and fall of empires. And even entire cultures come and go. But I don't think they've ever seen a view quite like this. When we return, you're on top of the world when you look out over the mountains from this pool. When you think of Switzerland, images of chocolate, cheese, and snow-capped mountains most likely pop in your head. And nestled in the Swiss Alps, just 100 miles from Zurich, the largest city in the country, is the tiny village of Adelboden, which has been in existence for more than 600 years. Originally a farming community famous for dairy products, it's now known for its epic ski slopes that attract professional skiers and the cold-blooded from all around the globe. Adelboden is also known for something else that you may not expect, given its freezing locale. A pool with a view that'll blow your mind. The pool at the Cambrian overlooks a valley which backs up to snow-capped mountains. And from your vantage point within it, you can see not just one, but 2 world-class ski hills. Snow and cold are not problems as the pool is maintained at a constant 90 degrees, which is a temperature calculated to be warm enough to maintain your comfort against the biting cold without causing fatigue. And you'll never get tired of admiring the snowy peaks of the powerful Wildstrubel and Stockhorn Mountains as other alpine chains stretch even further away into the horizon. Investor Grant Maunder has fond memories of vacationing with his family in Adelboden as a kid.
Adelboden is just a little bit off the radar. It's very well known to the Swiss, but pretty much unknown to everybody else.
And when the opportunity arose to buy what was once the grandest hotel in the village, Maunder and his partners jumped at the chance.
When we bought the property, we realized that, it's not a traditional chalet. So we thought to do something that was comfortable, but also something that was quite contemporary. So that's where all the trouble began, really.
They knew that to make a return on their investment, they had to transform the resort into a year-round destination.
You can't run a business based on 4 months a year of occupancy, so we absolutely needed to create a reason for people coming here in other seasons.
Wanting to get the pool installed as quickly as possible, they ditched typical designs and used stainless steel, which is light, strong, and able to stand the test of Switzerland's extreme temperature fluctuations.
The reason for it being stainless steel was one of those sort of byproducts of being under some time pressure. And as it happened, the stainless steel pool has worked fantastically well. People really, really like that.
It took 6 months to complete, and the final product perfectly balances your senses of hot and cold. You can relax in the steamy, warm water surrounded by a winter wonderland of snow and ice.
It's a very wide valley, so wherever you are, you get a great view of the mountains around you.
You have this majestic view overlooking the mountains, waterfalls. It's really breathtaking.
The pool's unique features draw a diverse crowd from casual vacationers to elite athletes.
Before races, we are training, like we're traveling every week. And this pool in particular is a place for us to relax, not only our bodies, we get to relieve our minds and just enjoy the mountain views.
You can swim right out the door to take in the views. No rope required, and you can kiss tired muscles and minds goodbye, thanks to the cozy 90-degree water, bubbles, and whirlpool jets.
That we needed to do something a bit different. Without doubt, it's paid off massively.
What an amazing view to relax in. I did it myself quite often, and every time I always think, what a place.
Grant's hard work has paid off, and the hotel and pool have been much more successful than he could have ever dreamed.
I don't think we imagined that we'd end up owning and running a hotel here, but we're glad and we're proud that we've done that.
It's the combination of the historical facade and the modern inside, part of the old village and presenting something new.
The international crowd of travelers the pool attracts aren't the only ones who can't get enough. Multiple travel magazines have named the pool one of the top 10 in the world.
I don't think we ever anticipated that we'd receive the accolades that we have. We are a small hotel. It's just the image that sold it. You can't compete with that because it's awesome.
Florida's Miami Beach is located on a barrier island between Biscayne Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. The island was originally full of mangrove swamps and mosquitoes, but it did have an impressive beach. And in 1910, entrepreneur Carl Fisher saw its potential as a resort destination. So he built a bridge, dredged the swamps, and created what was then known as the American Riviera. The beach is 9 miles of white sand and crystal blue water. No surprise the inventor of suntan lotion was from Miami. At the southern end is South Beach, now famous for its skimpy swimsuits and dark tans. It also has the most amazing Art Deco buildings which were constructed in the 1920s. In fact, more than 960 buildings have historical status, the largest group in the world, more than even New York City. But you'll probably be going to South Beach for the nightlife, or if raging pool parties are your thing, you'll want to keep heading south to the last 2 miles of the beach. Since the 70s, this stretch has been home to all the hottest clubs and hotels. On the bay side, you'll find the Mondrian, a hotel that decided to revitalize its wet attraction and turn it into a destination party pool. And since then, it's become an iconic go-to spot in South Beach.
The vibe here is amazing. It's definitely one of the hot spots to be in South Beach.
The Mondrian's a little bit classy, sophisticated, and sexy.
A place to chill with hundreds of friends and stare at the views.
The view at the Mondrian is absolutely outstanding. You can sit down on the pool deck and watch the boats go by, watch people kayaking, or just people sailing off and to enjoy their day.
And maybe catch a glimpse of Jennifer Lopez or Will Smith as they head out from Star Island on their yachts. And you can take in the whole downtown Miami skyline and watch the sunset. The bay side of South Beach has traditionally been the sleepier side, appealing to retirees and those who like a slower pace. So when a tired old apartment building called the Mirador was purchased and plans were revealed to turn it into a Mondrian luxury resort, a lot of heads turned. Reimagining it as a young and hip place was going to take some work. Since the hotel isn't directly on the beach, its new owners knew the cards were stacked against them.
We had to really renovate the entire space, from windows to risers to everything you can see. We had to spend $30, $40 million making this masterpiece.
So they spared no expense in the remodel, hiring internationally famous Dutch designer Marcel Wanders to design every facet, which included revamping the tired old pool into an oasis for the hip club scene.
Marcel wanted these big giant living rooms with carpets and pillows and day beds, and he created these big canopies on the bay that you can see from anywhere in Miami.
Because the pool was located on top of a parking structure, it could not be easily demolished or rebuilt. So they basically built a pool within a pool. By doing this, they were able to position the pool towards the west. They raised the whole deck 3 feet so that pool goers would have a clear sunset view over Miami.
So we really try to make the whole pool deck one level. No matter where you sit, it evolved you around the view. And that's what makes it so special.
And Marcel had another idea, to theme the whole hotel and the pool after the fairy tale, Sleeping Beauty. The pool reopened to legendary reviews.
You really feel like you're on the water, looking out over the intercoastal right here when you're in the pool. It's perfect.
And thanks to the constant construction in Miami, even the view got an upgrade.
You can also see some of the homes on the water, so for me that's motivational because #like pools, so love it.
The Mondrian is now in the rankings and is consistently rated as having one of the best pools and pool parties in all of Miami. And they didn't even need a beach to compete, with views like these. Coming up, this former pirate island has a priceless treasure, but it isn't buried, it's the view. The Central American country of Costa Rica, which literally means rich coast, is a breath of fresh air for travelers looking to get close to nature. Protected grassy plains, rainforests, and coastline make up 25% of the country, the largest percentage in the world. Coffee drove the economy here for 150 years, until tourism overtook it in the 90s. In fact, even though Costa Rica is smaller than Lake Michigan, it still manages to be one of the world's top vacation destinations. After kicking back on one of over 300 unspoiled beaches, travelers can venture into the mysterious jungle, where hidden away on a remote section of the Pacific coast, they might find Hotel Punta Isleta and the country's very first, and many say best, infinity pool. The pool at Hotel Punta Isleta features views of rainforests and a sparkling bay. And visitors feel like they're on the edge of the world when they experience this one-of-a-kind escape.
The pool is the central point of the hotel.
I feel a sense of tranquility and a sense of pride.
I want something that mixes the ocean with the sky, the same color.
The color of the ocean changes with the color of the sky, and we brought many materials to actually put it against the ocean to see which material was the perfect blend, and that's how we chose it. I love it here. This is one of my favorite places.
And in order to understand how the land it sits on was turned from a dusty pasture into an eco-friendly, award-winning destination, you have to go back 25 years. In the province of Guanacaste, which is the most sparsely populated in the country, the local economy used to rely on cattle ranching. But then a decline in beef exports and dropping prices decimated the business. In the small town of Punta Isleta, many people lost their jobs. It would take two brothers, one a rancher and the other an architect, to turn things around.
Price of the cattle went down. So I told Ronald, listen, I'm going to make a hotel here.
My brother has always been interested in helping the community. How can we bring progress to the community? How can they live better? I said, all right, yeah, let's do a hotel.
This is the middle of nowhere. We don't have road, we don't have electricity, we don't have anything.
And I say, all right, yeah, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. You know, it could be very nice.
Yeah, I said, we have to make here something special, something unique.
This was the first infinity pool in Costa Rica. We really planned it here on site, and it was a collaboration between my brother and I.
But building a pool with an infinity edge was more difficult than they thought.
To do the infinity, it has to be completely perfect. And 24 years ago, it was complicated to do it. We had to fill up the pool and say, well, actually, it's filling on one side, this is a little higher. We had to redo the infinity edge several times to get it right. In Lotai, at the point, there's a little island. So when you walk into the resort, I wanted that axis to be exactly pointing the islita. And a lot of people don't realize that, but a lot of people do. And they say, well, what a coincidence. Well, it's not a coincidence.
With the pool complete, the hotel opened to rave reviews. And to no surprise, the most talked about feature was the pool and the view. The pool holds 65,000 gallons of water and is surrounded by sweeping views of the green rainforest, blue Pacific, and clear skies. Guests are sure to get a picture-perfect view year-round. Ronald and Harry, against all odds, were able to turn a failing cattle ranch into one of the top hotels in the world. And by doing so, they brought incredible change to the community as well. And Harry and Ronald have reinvested profits in the community, sponsoring education and even building a new school for the town. At the end of the day, Hotel Punta Islita is a remarkable place where two brothers came together to help the local population thrive, while also providing visitors with an unbelievable experience that they will never forget. When we return, this pool in Arizona hangs off the side of a desert mountain. And this resort in St. Lucia has 26 infinity pools. In the heart of the sun-baked American Southwest lies Scottsdale, Arizona. If you've ever thought to yourself, I need to visit one of the hottest places known to mankind, then you should add Scottsdale to your list. This suburb of Phoenix has a crushing average summer temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The 120,000 square miles of Scottsdale's Sonoran Desert is more than twice the size of England. And while some of the area's 22 million annual visitors enjoy extreme outdoor adventures, most have come in search of tranquility. The ample peaks here reach over 7,000 feet into the sky, providing a refuge from the busy city life below. And carefully perched on one of these imposing cliffs is a vacation rental home that could be yours for the weekend. It has 13,000 square feet of living space, 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, a chef's kitchen, a game room, a theater, and more. What people really come here for is the pool and its view. Overlooking the city is this custom-built, awe-inspiring, 30-foot-long, 10-foot-wide infinity pool. It holds 20,000 gallons of water and weighs in at almost 50 tons.
I definitely feel like I'm just kind of floating in the sky, very relaxing.
We're on the side of a mountain overlooking a major city. It's just something you can't get at a resort.
Such an extreme destination was the brainchild of a New York City developer who reached out to luxury vacation home expert Ryan Liebentritt with a very specific set of needs.
The laundry list of items, the buyer wanted included a lot of bedrooms, a lot of bathrooms, a pool with a view, a site that was perched up on the hill.
In such a hot area of the country, they knew the pool was a key feature, but finding the perfect fit was a problem. The view properties that existed didn't have big pools.
We did a lot of research. We couldn't find the pool with the view. We could find the great pool, but not with the dramatic views that he required.
So Ryan came up with a plan. Find an existing view home, enlarge it, and add the pool. After finding a modest 3,000 square foot home in the hills, architectural engineer Rex Boyes was brought in to oversee the massive 10,000 square foot addition to the structure.
The only way that we could add additional square foot was to dig into the mountain. We had to dig into the house 3 feet and then down 10 feet, and all doing that on a slope. We were also concerned about boulders the size of Volkswagen rolling down and taking out a house below us.
Making sure the existing home didn't collapse as they dug into the mountain for the expansion, and creating a granite shelf for the pool proved so dangerous, they couldn't find a structural engineer willing to accept the challenge or the liability.
Myself and the contractor just came up with what we thought would be the best method to keep the house existing where it's at and not move downhill.
With the house supported, the difficult excavation of the rock could begin, making way for the structures that would support the massive weight of the pool. Over 36 months, they added an additional 10,000 square feet to the home and built its signature feature. The granite foundation of the pool helps keep the water temps at a natural 78 degrees. That's over 30 degrees less than the average air temperatures. Scottsdale Manor, as it is now known, is the most extravagant vacation rental in the state of Arizona. The new construction on the pool alone commanded a price tag of more than $650,000. If you ever find yourself in Scottsdale and need a place to stay, you can enjoy it all for only $5,000 to $6,000 a night. And some even say, the view is worth it. The island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean, the only country in the world named after a woman, is a tropical paradise full of volcanic mountains, cascading waterfalls, and flawless beaches. It's also rumored to be the hiding place of a sizable amount of the pirate Blackbeard's treasure. But that's not the only treasure it's home to. It's also the location of a hotel that takes the privacy of its guests to a whole new level and is universally agreed to be one of the most architecturally inspiring structures in the world. That hotel is Jade Mountain. And it's home to not just one, but 26 distinctly unique pools whose views will bring your wildest tropical fantasies to life. Each of the 26 ultra-private Infinity Edge pools sit high above the tropical canopy and stunning beach.
Every room has a totally different design, different pool color, different pool outlay. How it sits in the room, how it interacts with the view is different from every room. What's actually created is this need that some people find to come back and try every room just to see how the interaction with the view is different.
And have views of St. Lucia's most prominent and iconic landmark, the Pitons. Volcanic peaks that rise more than 2,500 feet above the Caribbean Sea. They've been worshipped and admired by every culture that has existed on this island for more than 1 million years. And they served as an inspiration for a very patient entrepreneur. We're in St. Lucia, where architect Nick Trubetskoy arrived in 1970, and with the help of an investor purchased a small, dilapidated resort named Anse Chastenay.
I became the general manager, didn't know anything about the hotel business, but as an architect realized there was the most valuable asset here, and that is the Twin Pitons.
So Nick began to brainstorm how he could use the view of the Pitons to his advantage.
It's totally awe-inspiring to look at them. And so this is something that really triggered off a lot of dreaming.
While working and refurbishing this smaller original resort, Nick continued to hatch his master plan. And it took him 20 years of negotiating and acquiring land before he could finally break ground on his new resort, Jade Mountain.
I wanted something unlike anything that was done before. What ended up here is made up on the spur of the moment. We didn't have any cranes or anything else. This was a hand job. They had to, with wheelbarrows, bring the concrete onto the site along wooden platforms. And I said to myself, just a minute, why don't we just build on top of those bridges in concrete and have bridges that feed you right into the room? So you don't have to have internal stairwells or open your door and have your neighbor look at you, which would be horrible.
The construction of Jade Mountain took 2 years, in part because of one of the distinct features Nick insisted on: 26 infinity pools, one for each room.
The swimming pool idea came through extensive traveling, visiting hotels, and having a pool close by was a shocking pleasure. So I decided to build pools that could be built in a high-rise, and I think that what we have with the pools now has never been done anywhere in the world.
And each room and pool needed to be completely unique. There could be no two alike. With the completion of the resort, everything came together, pools and views, perfectly. Nick's son Yasha grew up surrounded by his father's dream and is now part of the management team at Jade Mountain. He's also an expert on its design.
The hotel is like a work of art. I would say the tiles match that work of art. They've become a work of art, and the way they interact with the light and with the view, they change color. They're quite iridescent. So as the sun changes, the pool reflects the light differently, and it becomes almost a rainbow of colors. So when you think you've got a green pool, all of a sudden you're looking at this rainbow pool looking out over the view, and it's absolutely spectacular.
There was so much original tile manufactured for the pools at Jade Mountain that if you lined up each 4-inch tile end to end, they would stretch for 16 miles.
So the water from every pool comes from a series of reservoirs we have, which is collected from rainwater, and we purify it, and then it goes to each room. And as the infinity edge overflows, it runs into a little trough at the front, creating this beautiful white noise sound, almost like a waterfall. And it runs around to the edge of the building where it's collected, purified, and then used for other areas of the hotel, so watering for the gardens, used on the organic farm, for example.
Celebrities flock to Jade Mountain, thanks to the unique design that prevents paparazzi from seeing into the rooms from anywhere on or near the island. The resort takes this privacy so seriously that they would not even allow us to film the front of the hotel from above, on the off chance we might catch Scarlett Johansson in an embarrassing moment. When or if you stay in a sanctuary room at Jade Mountain, feel free to do anything and everything you like in the pool. Your secret is safe with them and us.
I mean, the pool is so amazing, and it's just flat and infinity and just mesmerizing. And also, quite nice to swim naked in.
If you're ever lucky enough to stay here, you'll have your choice between not 1, but 26 pools with a view.